objectives in Schoology. Second, how to create an assessment that is aligned by your standards. And third, where you can look at and analyze the data and what the different icons mean. Okay, so the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to click on resources when we're getting to our home page. I was already on there, but if you start on this page here, when you open up your Schoology, the recent activities or the dashboard, when you click on resources, it'll bring you here. The first icon is going to show home. The second icon is going to show learning objectives. You click on learning objectives. I have some objectives already created, but to create an objective, if you want to hit add, custom learning objective, create this as a test. You type whatever you want to type, whatever your objective is. This is more beneficial for teachers who are not who are teaching a class that is not state tested or don't have state standards. So if you're doing art or CTE, and you're trying to assess for something that is not quite a standard but a skill set, you can create an objective here. Okay, so you hit create, and then it's right there. This is a test. Once you create your objective, you then need to go and create your assessment. So I have a shell course that I work out of. It's a science folder. It's a shared folder that we all use. Right here, I already have a assessment that I kind of created, made the teachers from admin to students, had them take the test so that I can show you the data, of course. So this is all fake. I just cannot create a video and share student data, so this is my workaround. So click on standard space assessment. You create your questions. I have some questions that are flagged here, some that are old, and then there's some new ones that I keep kind of adding and playing with just to show people. So I'm going to create a true false question. I'm going to say photosynthesis requires oxygen. And of course that is false because it makes oxygen, if you didn't know. And I'm going to align it to our state standards because I'm a state tested subject for biology at least. Click academic, science, go to biology. I'm going to go to for molecules and organisms, and I'm going to find the standard that matches. Process of what converts light energy. That's the standard. I'm going to hit add. Once you add it, it is down there flagged. Make sure you have your correct answer noted. Everything looks good. You hit create question. Now, when students take the assessment, like you can see all of the standards flagged, you see the standards that are flagged. The students do not. So let's look at a preview. Start a new attempt. So the students see a regular test. So you can do this in both the add a test quizzes page or in the assessment. It really doesn't matter. It looks the same. You align it and the students will see a regular test. You can still see their grades, right? So here we have some poorly scored teacher grades, but it's okay. It's just a fake test. This mastery tab, if you've ever wondered like, hey, what is this mastery button for? This is what it is for. You click the mastery button. All of the standards that you ever flagged for any assignment, so since this is a shared folder, it's almost all of them, but the ones that I created for this purpose are at the end, right? So I created a standard that said ChatGPT to create a common assessment, use ChatGPT for language objectives, use ChatGPT to create a worksheet, use ChatGPT just in general, right? So above here, it'll tell me the average for the class. Now, it doesn't show you the average for all of your students, but it'll at least show you the average by class. If you want to know how to do the average for all of your students, there's a way we can export it, put it in Excel, put it together, and then run a report. But that'll be for a different video. Now, When it's red, that means that um, they didn't meet like they haven't mastered it, right? The number one indicates that I only had one question for that standard. If I would have had the assessment 3 questions, it'll say 3. Now, the beauty is if you give a bell ringer on Monday that has 1 question, a bell ringer on Tuesday that have 1 question, it'll flag all of those questions under the same standards if you align it as such. And it'll say like 4 questions that week, and it'll show you the average of it. So if you want to, you can look at the data from all of the assessments and just not by the one assessment, but by the actual standard. You can toggle between learning objective and student achievements. Because this is not a real class and it's like a shell, it's not going to give me the reports. But if this was a real class, like I have some of my real data, it'll show you. Yeah, because it's not showing me the chat GPT. Let me scroll down and see. Just oh, it is. It's showing you some of the things. Yeah, it's kind of off because these are actual teachers and not students. So it'll show you the data in a different, more fancy fashion. But I just use the student achievement button, and I look at the averages that are at the very top. Um, in terms of your settings, you can change the mastery settings. So if you're saying that mastery is 50% and exceeding expectation is 75%, whatever your mastery level is, if a student gets, like, say, for instance, mastery is 70 and exceeding expectations is 85, as you change this information, it'll redistribute the data. Now, not so much in my dummy teacher test because the question was like yes or no questions. But if this was a true assessment of a student, me changing these settings would then make a difference between if the student's question is flagged for red or if it's flagged for green. So where you see light green is the mastery. Um, it'll show you'll create those margins. So it could be 60%, 70%. You make that decision, or your department makes the decision. Or you can say, hey, the based off of my EOC score, they're going to have 5 questions on this particular thing. They need to score at least 3 of them at that level. Like, you can play around with these settings, and it'll change the data, if you will. Only thing I will tell you is whatever setting you set, if you're going to compare it to another teacher's data, make sure your settings are the same. Because if I set my setting at 50% and someone else sets their setting at 70%, then my students are showing mastery, and it's not a true representation of the data because you have different mastery settings. So that's the only little caveat. But if you need help with setting this up or you have any questions, I can help you with it. Right now my planning is 3rd block and 6th block, but after quarter 4 my planning is going to be 1st block and 2nd block. Hope this has helped someone. It's very easy to do. For ELC tested subjects, the standards are already in there for you. All you have to do is look at the question and flag it. For me, I can use ChatGPT to flag the questions for me so that when I create it, I already know. I don't have to think about what the standard is about. I can already use it. And I can show you guys how to do that as well in a separate video. Thank you. Have a good day.